Hi folks, welcome back to the allotment. It's Sunday the 23rd of October and I've been busy. I had a day off this week, and at the start of the allotment I've built I don't know if I dare call it a fence, a rough and ready fence out of wooden pallets. They're not all lined up in the same way because they'd have been too long otherwise, and as they are, they've just fit nice and snug. There's a sawn off telegraph pole at one end, and you can see I've cut out the pallet so that it fits snugly and it's been nailed on, and I've put a strengthening post in the middle so it's pretty solid really. It's not as nice as Terry's fence. It will get painted eventually. It's a little bit more roughshod, and you can see at the back the strengthening post in the middle, and then all I've done is nailed the pallets at both sides to the posts that were already there, and then I've just put a couple of short wooden braces across the joins in each pallet and nail them on, two on each join, and safe as houses, he hopes. And turning around, I've cut down the two elderberry trees, and I'm just in the process of digging out the smaller of the two. This is the easier one, and you can see it's grown through what must have been a path, a brick path, and I've taken out about half a dozen bricks whole and broken. I'm going to do my best to get this out, but you can see why my plan is to put raised beds on this area, because I had an inkling that the ground would be full of brick, and it is. So I'm not going to put myself through that. I did with the other allotment, and I'm not going to do that again. So I'll either have 4 raised beds just here, excuse my shadow, in that orientation so they get access to the sun all day, 4 10-foot by 5-foot beds. Now I've been planning to do it with scaffold boards and to have them 2 boards high, possibly 3, so that they're really accessible. But I've been watching quite a few videos from Charles Dowding on his website, and I'm toying with the idea of putting cardboard down and just doing no dig beds. I'm undecided yet. Clearly it's not going to remove the need to weed, because we're surrounded by pasture and meadow, and that's full of weed, so weed's going to continue to blow in. It's not like a private garden, so it probably will help a little bit with weeds, but there'll still be weeds there and they'll have to be pulled out, but it might avoid the need to dig, and also avoid the expense of buying scaffold planks. So, as I say, undecided at this stage. The one bed that had the garlic in, just there, you can see it, I've had to cover with, hastily I might add, I've had to cover it with some a fleece cloche, because the rabbits, I've not got protective wire netting around the site yet, and the rabbits have been in, sniffed out the garlic, and they've been, on one occasion they dug a hole almost the size of a bucket, and the garlic was sat in the bottom, not eating it, just curious I think, because of the smell. But the garlic, interestingly, it was only put in last Sunday, and it had roots coming out of the bottom about 2 inch long, so but clearly kicked into action with the cold weather we've had. I've done another bed as well here. That's dug about 2 foot deep, 18 inch, 2 foot deep, and the rabbits were in that as well, like a play pit. So I've just covered it with some twin-walled perspex sheeting for the time being. I will cover it with black plastic when it arrives later this week, because I've ordered some. So it's looking a little bit like mayhem at the moment. I've also got some soil up there. There's a lady with a paddock just up the other side of the portaloo, and she's got an area like a holding bay where she takes the horses into the paddocks, and it's very, very muddy, but the soil's really, really good. It's a mixture of soil and manure really, but it's about 2 foot deep, and there might be, it's about 15 foot by 10 foot, and she wants me to take that, so I'll use that to build up my beds, whether they're no dig, flat beds or raised beds. But for the time being, I've got to get these stumps out, and that's going to take me all afternoon, I think. You notice on the second allotment, I've also got the potato bed, what was this year's potato bed, covered with spent hops and manure. That's going to get covered with black plastic as well. It's had about 20 barrelfuls of manure, so hopefully I'll get that done later this week. If I'm lucky, I might get a day off at the end of the week to do that. So it's all go. I've got to get rid of this wood. I might hang on to it, burn it and make some potash. But it's a mess at the moment. But you've got to go through this stage to get somewhere, I guess. So I better get on with it, and I'll catch you later. Cheers. Hi again. And that's the first stump out. It's taken me about 2 hours to get it out. And that's the hammer and the spade. And this is the old man what done it. So that's the first out. One more to go. Although that's going to be much more of a challenge. So if anybody's got a tractor in West Yorkshire and wants to come and give me a hand, just let me know. Meanwhile, I'm going to make a start. Catch you later. Hi again. Friday the 28th of October. I did manage to get the 2 roots up, the elderberry tree stumps, on Sunday. I've just come back down, I've had a half day at work, and I've just filled in the first hole and sorted through the soil and taken a barrel load of brick out of it. And I've got to get rid of the tree stump, the big one. I managed to finish about 6 o'clock on Sunday, just as it was getting dark. So I've got a hole there about 2 foot deep and about 4 foot in diameter. So it took some getting out. It took me about an hour and a half, 2 hours to get it out. But it's gone now, so I can really start and try and tidy this this new allotment up. You can see all the top of the bush. I had to sort it off first. There's a lot of it, but there's still a lot to do. I've just brought down a third 8 foot by 4 foot raised bed frame. That's got to be dug out as well, and you can see by the shed there my black plastic came. It's a 25 metre by 4 metre roll, so it should cover pretty much everything that I want covering. Cheaper than I thought it would be, £30 odd. Quite expensive really, but hopefully it'll last. So I'll get on with the tidying up and I'll show you when I've finished, and then if we get time today we'll put some of the black plastic on as well, although that may well be tomorrow now. So I'll catch you a little bit later. Morning everyone, Sunday the 30th of October, and I've just popped down to the allotment prior to lunch to pick some parsnips and some carrots for lunch. We've got family coming around today, and made a very good job of getting these parsnips up. These are the white gem and they're quite interesting. Clearly I've lost probably 4 or 5 inch of the tapered section of the root there. That would have been a good 18 inch long, and they're nice and big, as you can see. But I found with the white gem this year, more so than with the gladiator and the Albion, that they've tended to fork. But 1 out of 4 there, that's not bad. Still get some nice parsnip sections out of that to be roasted today. That's a nice one, nice and clean, 14-inch long, nice shape to it, so you can't grumble really, can you, for the end of October. So looking forward to having those for lunch. Go and pick a few carrots now. Here we are at the baths with the carrots in, looking a little bit sorry for themselves now. Never really done very well with carrots on the allotment, always nobbled by carrot fly. I've grown them in a couple of dustbins in the past and they've yielded some carrots, the smaller ones like the Paris market ones, the tiny ones, finger length ones. These are the sweet candle, and they weren't put in until probably the end of June, early July, so they were put in really quite late. But we'll see. I've had quite a few out already, several bags, maybe a couple of kilogram, but they are quite small, so we'll take a look, see what we get. And they're the carrots that I've just taken out. They were planted very late at the end of June, so they're not massive, but as you can see they're big enough to work with in the kitchen. You can either cut them cylindrically or that way and have your carrot fingers. They're perfectly alright. A little bit of carrot fly damage, and that's because the baths are not high enough. Bit of an afterthought really this year with the carrots. We've really not done very well in previous years with carrot fly damage, and they're raised up about 1.5 foot here, but that's clearly not high enough. They need to be about 60 or 70 centimetres off the ground. So next year we will grow carrots in these baths again. We'll replace the top soil and the compost that's in there, and we'll have 3 bathfuls, but we'll put Enviromesh or fleece all the way around. So that's the carrots, and there's probably twice as many left in there as I've just taken out, and they'll do for this week. So a few more weeks, but we want them all year round. And we'll have carrots in these 3 baths, carrots in the big raised bed in the fruit allotment, and we might have carrots in one of the new raised beds on the new allotment as well, on the first allotment, so that we're self-sufficient with carrots, because we all use lots of carrots, don't we? And they're indispensable really, so we need to be growing more of those. Just about it for this update. Take a little look at the allotment. Not really done very much with it over this last week or two. Rhubarb's dying back. Once the leaves have died, they'll get put in the compost bin, and then we'll cover that area with manure. In fact, all of this is going to be covered with manure, so that's going to be a big job really. That there's easily going to be about 50 barrel loads of manure needed to cover that, to top dress it, because it didn't have, in fact I don't think it's had any, because it was only started last year. You know, we cleared all the rubbish off the top, dug it all, and it's had, we've rotated the crops and had quite a lot of beans in there, so we've been trying to add nitrogen back in, but it needs a good covering of manure, and there won't be any root crops in there next year, so that'll be okay. You can see on the paths they're dirty, and that's because yesterday my cousin and I, we wheelbarrowed quite a lot of manure onto the fruit allotment and put about 20 barrel loads on the strawberries. That's yet to be raked and spread around, and we'll do that this coming week. We also cleared out half of the raised bed on the fruit allotment. We've still got swede in there, and they're coming, well, they'll probably grow a little bit more, but not a great deal I don't think, but I've taken a couple up and they actually look quite good, they're decent size. But we cleared out the turnips and the old kohlrabi plants, dug it all over, it was full of nettles. We put a layer of well-rotten manure at the bottom, and then you can see we piled lots of really nice topsoil on there, because the plan is to put another plank on there next year, so that we've got a deeper bed and we're going to grow carrots in there. We've got the post around the top, so we should be able to fasten or attach rope or wire at varying heights as the plants grow, around horizontally, and then drape enviromesh or fleece over the top. And the soil came from the bed that we used for the main crop potatoes this year, because that's about 20 inch deep and it's really, really fine soil. It was full of rubbish last year when we cleared it out, all kinds of rubbish in there, but we put potatoes in. We had some brassicas in last year, but it's not had anything in there, no manure. Put fish blood and bone and chicken manure in for the potatoes, but the potatoes have really broken it up well, and we've cleared it out by hand as well. So this year that's going to get a really good layer of well rotten manure, probably about half a foot of manure on top, and we're going to grow sweet corn there next year. But the manure should really bulk it up nicely, and it'll be well rotten. So we've taken about 4 inches soil off the top, if that, and that's gone there. This is a 20-foot bed, and by the time we've got the next plank on, the soil will be clear and loose to a depth of about 2 feet, and we'll cap it off with some finer compost as well to sow the carrots into. So that's just about it for this update. The dailies are still holding on. It's always nice to look at these at the end. They'll not be there for much longer now, but we might get a few bunches this week. They've had a bit of a lifeline this week because the weather's going to be quite mild, 14-15 degrees, and not much chance of a frost. So they've bounced back a little bit. Yeah, we'll definitely have some of those cut today, and they'll be on the table for lunch. So that's it. Thank you very much for subscribing and for watching. Try and do a little bit more work on the new allotment for the next update. We'll get all the ground looking tidy. It already looks better now the trees are out, but we'll get a few more raised beds built, and it should begin to take on more definition. And then maybe next month, if the ground's firm enough, I'll put on the little greenhouse that's set up at home. It's a 6 foot by 6 foot, so it shouldn't be too conspicuous, and it should start and take on a bit of shape. Alright, so have a great week, and I'll catch you later. Bye.